Hello, you fucks. Welcome to John Solo's Beard Brigade. I'm John Solo. You are not. It's the big show. It's the Talk to the Beard show. I'm not going to take a bunch of time. We're just going to flip right over because one of my favorite people in the world is here. Ta-da! We got little Patty Logan. Hi, Patty. Wave hi to the crowd. There
Hi,
you.
guys. Hi.
So, crowd, for everybody that was in Discord earlier, and I was telling her the story here. So it's the nail in the head thing. So there's a woman and a guy, and they're sitting on the couch, and they're talking to each other. And the woman is explaining, I don't know, I've got this horrible pain that's going on in my head, this horrible, nasty pain. And they flip the camera view now, so you can now see them from front. And the guy's like, well, you've got this nail right in your forehead, right there. And she does, sure as shit. She's got a big nail sticking out of her forehead. And the woman immediately says, wait, that's what you do every time. God damn it, you never want to hear how I feel. You're always just trying to solve the problem. Don't do that. And the guy said, okay. So that's the context for this story. So today, Jody and I got in an argument. It was a disagreement of sorts. It wasn't a huge deal. It wasn't but it did get a little on the yelly side, and it was my fault entirely. I wasn't the one that started yelling, mind you. Yeah, but it did. So we don't do this very often. We're adults. We don't really scream at each other that much anymore.
Adults never argue.
Never, not once. So at one point, she is, and it's getting serious enough where we can't joke at this point. And at one point, she leans up, and by the way, Jody knows the nail in the head thing. She hates it, by the way, too. She fucking hates when I mention that story because she says that it demeans her. It says that I'm not taking her opinion seriously. And I get it. She's absolutely fucking right. She is right. I'm not being facetious about that. She is right. Most of the time, she's way smarter than I am. So in the middle of this story, in the middle of this argument that we're having, she reaches up and just goes, and I lose it. I crack up laughing in the middle of this whole serious discussion, argument, whatever. And I mean, I am dying laughing and just going, the nail. And I crack up laughing and I fall on literally fell on the floor laughing. I was laughing so hard. It was bad. It was really bad. And she took from across the room a remote control, swinged it. And nailed me right. So if you guys see, there's I have an indent. She got me, man. It was just whoosh, boom, bang. Then a shoe afterwards, and I deserved every second of it. Now I don't normally share Jody and I's this, but this one was particularly funny because that woman she's like
because
Hawkeye.
You deserved it. Oh,
I did.
Excellent. I'm really impressed with that. That's good.
Yeah, no, I did.
I wish you were here right now so I could practice.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
it. You're welcome.
Do you ever being an older married woman, do you ever throw things at your husband?
I'm going to throw something at you right now. Not anymore. Not for a while. Yeah, but no, I did. Of course. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
including a fist a couple of times.
You seem like you could have a temper.
Yeah. I'm a redhead. I can. Yeah. I do. Oh. I do.
So that was weird too. I don't know if you heard this. I was looking at your website. I don't know if you knew this or not.
It's so crappy. I hate my website.
It's not that bad. It wasn't that bad, but anyway. So you have these quotes on there. And they're really fun quotes. I like them. One of them was, she's a fiery redhead, and I was like, fuck, man, Patty has red hair. Okay, cool. But then
I hate you so hard right now.
The next one was, and I'm quoting here. I'm not making this shit up. I couldn't make this shit up. Said, she smells like old poo.
Poo, yeah, that's Lisa.
Like old poo. I enjoyed that. That's
Lisa Worrell. I know. She's a trip. Oh my God.
I give you shit, but you're only like a couple of years older than me. It's just fun to make fun of you because you think you're old, and it's hilarious to me.
I'm more than a couple of years older than you, but that's okay.
Yeah, like 2. I've seen it. When it's all right because I'm. The fact is, you were also way more intelligent than me, smarter than me, and more likable than me. So you've got all those things going for you as well.
What's wrong with you today?
I got hit in the head
in the head,
with a
and
control.
I can't remember shit.
That's what happens. So it feels like it's been forever since I've seen you. We were just in Discord all
Yeah,
week together, hanging out and enjoying each
I
other's
know.
company. Did the book come out yet? Have you checked? I don't know if
No,
it did.
it hasn't come out yet.
I would imagine
We
probably
just approved
later
it
on
last
today.
night at like midnight or something. So
You
yeah,
know
no,
the the ACX gods love me. So
I know.
I'm if I didn't fuck it up, hopefully Bound by Love will be out in the next couple days. Um,
Yeah.
when you this is actually a question I thought because we've hung out at GRL, we've been talking all week long. So I've never asked you with Bound by Love. There's a lot of BDSM stuff in it, and looking through your catalog, and actually we were talking about potentially another project here together.
Hmm.
There's a ton of BDSM stuff.
Oh
Now
my
I
God, there's a ton of it.
is this. I mean, I'm not trying to get personal or anything, but is this like something that you've learned a lot about yourself that you're into? I mean, is this a thing?
I'm not into it myself. I just used to read a lot of it. I mean, you have to remember, I've been published since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So the first BDSM book I wrote was um, for an anthology that I did, actually with Lisa Worrell. You know, she smells like old poo, with Lisa Worrell and Sue Brown. And that thing was published in 2011. So that's how long ago I've been writing BDSM. And then after that, I wrote like several books in a row, and then I became almost known for it for a long time. And um, I stopped writing it in like 2015 because I was so burnt out. I had written like other than the stuff that I had published long time ago with publishers, I had written like 19 self-published ones in a row. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I have found I cannot find another way to beat someone, paddle someone, spank someone, tie nipple clamps, tie them up. It was like ridiculous. So it was like, I can't do it anymore. I had done
Mm-hmm.
cock and ball torture. I had done enemas. I had done everything. My daughter's home. So I had done everything on the page, on the page. So it was like, okay, I'm done with this. So I really, and all of my later books had like elements of mystery in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, that's what I want to do. And so I jumped off into I had gone and written the Assassins books, which had a few BDSM scenes in some of them, and you're going to be re-recording those. And then um, I went into Death and Destruction because I just liked that kind of mystery action adventure type series. Those books are like if you're watching an episode of 24, that's what that's
Mm-hmm.
like. It's just like it concentrates on a case, because those are kind of like police procedurals, but with special agents. And mine focuses on ATF, but I've also got FBI guys in there, CIA guys, Homeland Security. I've got everybody involved in these stupid books. So I just wanted to, write that for a while. So I did that. I wrote like another 20 of those. And I was like, okay, 2020 rolls around and I was just, having a meltdown because everybody was. We were all in lockdown and I just wanted to do something different. So I planned out this paranormal series. And I had written one paranormal before that, which it did okay, but I wasn't known for paranormal and I never followed up and completed the series. So I just never went ahead and grew the following. But this time, when I wrote the Prosper Woods series, I decided I'm going to go for it and write the whole series. I'm going to try and finish it in 1 year, and I did. And then I had you record the books at the same time, and it did really well. And it was like it found its own market. It's like, liquid falling through the cracks and finding its place. You know what I mean? I don't know, stupid analogy, but anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I got tired of the BDSM stuff. So a lot of the stuff you're going to be recording is going to be BDSM because it's older stuff. I'm having you do like my back catalog. So get used to it.
Yeah, no, get kinky with it. I've actually, it's funny. So when you got into the BDSM, I'm assuming, and especially because you didn't have a particular, personal interest in this yourself, that you realized that it sells. It's so
Yeah.
fucking simple. I'm taking this approach to my 2022. Not always. I can't do it always, but understanding as well that sex fucking sells. It kind
It
of, it
really does.
kind
And
of,
I hate writing it, and it really does.
I, I, I go through phases with this. I can't do this all the time. I can't do the hot, sexy scenes all the time. I just can't. But I'm allowing myself to do more of them this year because one, the money. To be quite honest with you, I want to make some more money this year. Two,
Hmm.
it's because if for some reason the universe is like lined this up for me with your Bound by Love thing that we just did together. I'm going to be doing another thing for you, a couple more series that have come across my desk. There's a whole lot of sex just rolling over all at once.
A lot.
Yeah. And, as long as I can veer away. See, that's the advantage of being an actor narrator like I am, as opposed to what you're doing. If you sign yourself up to write a series, you've decided, I'm going to write this, I'm going to knock it out in a year, whatever you're going to do. That's all you're fucking doing that year. You're not spinning off. I
Right.
can get away from it occasionally. I can do 2 or 3 projects and jump over and do something else for a minute. But bottom line is, I'm doing a shit ton more sex this year.
Hmm.
With the BDSM in particular, there's some stuff in there. I don't get offended by any of this. It doesn't even make me blink anymore, to be quite honest with you. So when I'm just going to get into the scene, and in Bound by Love, you start out, if I remember right, it's like the first or second scene in the book. You got one of your characters jamming a metal rod down the other one's dick. Was that just you saying to
It
yourself,
wasn't
"Well, I've done it"?
jammed.
It
It
was
wasn't
pretty
jammed down. No, it
aggressively.
wasn't.
It was. He whips
No.
out a kit, and he's got. By the way, I found this funny
It's
because
called
I'm
a
a musician.
sound. It's called a
Yeah,
urethral sound. Okay.
he had 12 of them because there's 12 notes in a chromatic scale. Is that why he had 12 of them? You think?
No. I had no idea that that's was a thing. But okay.
When he whipped them out and he said 12, I was like, what is it, like, 2 black ones and 3 white ones and 2 like laid out like piano keys? Is that...
I don't know. I don't play piano, and I don't read music, so I had
Oh,
no idea that I did that, but I'm so glad that you found something to relate to. Oh
it
my
was
god.
hilarious to me.
You're
Well,
impossible.
sometimes in those scenes, sometimes I play a game during those scenes, especially when there's a lot of them in a row, and I keep score. I'm not going to get
Which
into any
that's
more of
all
it
there
tonight.
is in those books. That's all there is. It's like sex,
There was
sex,
there was
sex.
a
Oh,
lot. If
breathe,
y'all
breathe,
are
take a shower, sex, sex, sex.
into
Eat,
sex, this
sex, sex, sex.
it's Bound by Love. We just put out, and there is more. It is 12 hours of fucking just over and over and over.
It is. Oh my god. No, you see, everybody goes, why don't you write all these sex scenes? And like, why do you say that you don't like them? You're so good at them. I'm like, this is why. This is why. Imagine writing 20 of those books in a row. This is why. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm burnt, man. I was talking about this with AJ Llewellyn. It's like each of us have written like, she and I both. I mean, she's written like 350 books. Bless her heart. But anyway, she's written like 350 books, and I've written over 70. And you know, you just get how many sex? I mean, multiply that by the sex scenes, and then add on all the BDSM stuff, and that's a lot of sex you've written. It's like how many?
Yes.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm like, how many ways can you find to tie a guy up
Well,
and
and
flog him?
I knew this about your writing from years ago, but then we got into this the Prosper Woods Chronicles, and there was a little bit of sex in there, but it wasn't anything like. I mean, there was
No,
a completely different departure from what I was
yeah.
expecting to get. It was fantastic.
There's like three. There's like three per book, and those are 75,000 word books. So there's like three per book, and that's what I try to keep it to,
Hmm.
unless I'm like, I think the last book had like five or something, and
Hmm.
each one can be anywhere from 4 pages, which is about 900 words. No, it's a little more than that. It's about 1,200 words, down to, I don't know, it could be as much as 5,000 words if you're really like totally getting into it and they're both getting off and you've got a whole chapter or whatever. I think I did that with one of them, where I had like an entire chapter. It was like, we're gonna have these guys screw, and we're gonna have this couple screw, and we're gonna have this couple screw again. So yeah, it was like one whole chapter, like 14 pages of just like fucking.
I remember,
So yeah,
well, Greg's scenes in those books kind of. So is Greg coming back with the new series? Is he going to be
he
involved in
is,
this?
but he'll be in it. Yeah, because he's a werewolf and he's the leader of the werewolf pack. And this is Castor's story. It's called The Prosper Woods Wolves, and the first book is called Night of the Blood Red Moon. And he is a member of the first house, if you recall. It's like werewolf royalty.
Uh-huh.
So that the first house basically comes to Prosper Woods and puts all the wolves that live in Prosper Woods in Greg's pack, um, makes them feel like crap. So it's going to be fun. There's a lot of politics in this book, which is, always fun. And
Uh-huh.
then, I wrote this series, at least this first book, like a old-fashioned male female romance bodice ripper, if you recall what that is. I don't know if you know
Well,
what that is, but
yeah. Well, I mean, you know what I did in middle school, so
I do.
yeah.
Okay.
No, oh, you know what? Jody actually read quite a lot of those romance books, so I do know exactly what you're talking about. Believe it or not, I had never read a romance book until my first romance book that I recorded. I'd not read a single one of them.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I know.
anyway, there's always, in the old ones, the ones that I grew up reading in the Stone Age, in the
Right.
old ones, there's always like some guy that has a position of power. He's usually rich, or he's a sea captain, and he's big and broad and huge and gorgeous. And
Mhm.
all of his underlings are smaller, and slighter and whatever, or poorer, or whatever. They all defer to him for some reason, so he's got this power just coming off of him in waves. Well, that's Castor. Okay. And then you've got this, because Castor is a prince. And then you've got this mild mannered, servile servant, or in those books it was like a woman that is virginal and shy and whatever, and he takes advantage of her. He either gets drunk and rapes her, and then has to marry her, or he gets drunk and has consensual sex with her, and because she's trying to lure him in, or decides that she wants to trap him because she needs his money to save her father, who's rotting away in some old English prison somewhere, or something like this. So she's like gives herself to him as a sacrifice, and then he falls in love with her, or he's forced to marry her, and they start out the book hating each other, and that's like a third of the book, and then they have sex again, and then it's magical the second time. And then after that, it's just like he's starting to notice that, oh, she's, actually not so bad. And oh my God, she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And why does my heart beat every time she walks into a room? And oh my God, her bosom is overflowing her bodice. And oh my God, her breasts are so giant and peachy, and I want to kiss them all the time, or this kind of stuff. So this is a bodice ripper, okay? And eventually they fall in love, or whatever happens. Or they find out she's pregnant and he can't get rid of her, or something like this. This is all these plots of all these romance books that I now have in storage. This is what I grew up reading, you know? And
That
so
sounds
I
wonderful.
decided I'm gonna I,
I,
I
I
decided I'm
really,
gonna do a male, bodice ripper. AJ Llewellyn calls him a breeches ripper.
of course she
So,
does. I
or
can hear her say
as
that.
she says in her Aussie accent, a breeches ripper.
Well, I want to touch on a couple of things here. First off, you should be a writer. The way you were describing the boobs falling out of the shirt had me going there for a second. Second,
Decolletage.
yeah, I like your vaguely Eastern European accent that you gave the character at one point in there. I like that a lot. I almost thought he was a villain for it. Thirdly,
Everybody
the
thinks he's a villain. Yeah.
yeah, the description of the character, it kind of sounds like the enemies to lovers thing,
It
like the
is.
enemies to lovers trope. So they seem
Oh,
to
it
be very
totally is.
popular. Yeah. How
Oh,
much
good.
are you paying attention to tropes at this point? I mean, you've been at this a while and you've written a
I've been
lot
at
of
it a
books.
long time.
Are
I
you
don't pay
like,
attention to what's
yeah.
out there and what's selling. I really don't. I don't care. I write for myself. I have a really wonderful base of readers that adore me, and that's all I really need. If, somehow I hit a button somewhere and I suddenly gain this new popularity for a particular series, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Mhm.
And it happened when I wrote the Death and Destruction series, and I didn't write that series until I was like 50 books into writing. So once I wrote like the first couple books, everybody's like dying to get the next one. And it was like, oh, and it was amazing. Every time I
Mhm.
would release it, it would go to number one, like shoot to number one. It was crazy. So if somebody falls in love with me after reading, falls in love with a new series or whatever I'm writing, that's awesome. But I don't go out hoping for it anymore, you
I
know?
don't think, yeah, I don't think you need to. You're kind of a big deal. The Death and
I don't know.
Destruction, you are. I don't know that, well, I always joke like I'm a big deal. I'm totally not. But I've been at conventions with you. I've sat at your table. Actually, I wasn't
Oh,
even a
that's
big enough
true.
deal to get a chair at your table. I had to sit on the floor at the table. And
You
people were,
squatted.
the funny thing was that happened. People are coming up and there's a line the entire time. I think the signing was 2 hours long, and there's a line the entire time at your table. And I'm like, dude, can I hang out here? I'm trying to hide. You said, okay, you were nice enough to let me do that. And pretty soon,
I
like
was happy to have you there. Are you kidding?
well, and I got nothing to do. A few people know me, a few do. So every, 5 or 10 people are coming up getting it signed. But pretty soon, Patty's like, you're like, hey, would you like to have the narrator of that book sign it too? And the people are like, I guess. Yeah, who is it? And
They actually did do that. They
it
actually
was,
did do that. You're
it
not
was,
lying.
it
It
was
was
fan.
not, that wasn't everybody.
It was so much
Some of
fun.
them were like, oh, you're John Solo. Oh my God. Oh, you're wonderful. We love you. But
It,
no,
it,
yeah, there were some people that were like,
yeah.
sure, why
Who the
not? He's
fuck
here
is
anyway.
that? Yeah, I was having to talk him into it. And it's like, look, I'll sign it, Nick J. Russo, if you want. I mean, it's,
Oh God. That
yeah.
was funny.
So people are talking like in the comments too. Here they're flying by. People have mentioned this Death and Destruction thing. Are you planning on adding anything more to that series? Are you planning on going
I
back to it
have
at
to
any
write
time?
a I have to write at least one book because one more because I left it on a cliffhanger with a villain that got away in book
Mhm.
10. So I have at least one more to do. But I don't know when it's going to happen because I have to be in a certain frame of mind, and I don't like to break up series by writing one in the middle of a series. So
Uh-huh.
it's either I write it now before I release this book, or I wait. And I think I'm going to wait because I'm just not in the frame of mind. Plus, those books are heavily researched, and it takes me a month or more to research them.
What
Each book has a particular thing. Like the last book I wrote it's my Avalanche book. So I fucking watched Avalanche videos for a month and read everything I could possibly find on the interwebs about avalanches. It was ridiculous. Now ask me a question about avalanches, okay? I'm kidding. But anyway, so yeah, and then I had to write one of them is a fireworks book. Now it's kind of hilarious. I wrote I contacted a fireworks expert, and they're all in like Virginia in the South. So I explained what I'm writing to this guy, and he was really nice. And I said, can I send over the scene? You can tell me if you think that this is right. And I sent it over to him, and he never replied. And then I kept emailing him saying he was so nice. I don't get it. What's going on? We even talked on the phone. And then I opened up the attachment and I realized that I sent him that scene, and then I had cut and pasted this giant gay sex scene right behind it and sent it to him. And I had no idea that I did that. So the guy was probably like, oh my God, I'm not talking to this chick from California. So anyway, yeah. So, but I did have a fireworks expert, and I did give him a dedication page. So whatever. So yeah, eventually I'll write. Eventually I'll write another book, but there, like I said, it takes forever to research them.
I enjoy. There is something about, logically, if you think about it, right? Gay sex is no different than heterosexual. Like, everybody has sex. We don't care who you put it in or how you do it or that sort of thing. But there's something about, like, when I describe what I do to people, I can't just say I work in romance. I can't just say, I have to say I'm an actor. Oh, you're an actor in Columbus, Ohio? Yeah, I work in audiobooks. Oh, you work in audiobooks. Have you done anything we've heard of? My favorite one for that, by the
Yeah.
way, is, yeah, have you heard of Harry Potter? Oh my God, I didn't work on that. That's my favorite way to handle that one. But then you go on, you're like,
God.
yeah, you probably don't want, I work a lot in romance. Oh, well, my wife, she listens to the romance. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, at this point, your wife probably does listen to me quite a bit, buddy. But at that point, then I explain, I work in gay romance. You have to do that in stages, and it's still, now things are getting a
I
lot
know.
cooler than they used to be, but it's still a little weird. Um, I know I've met one of your children. Your family obviously knows what you do. Um,
Yeah.
does everybody else, like, in the community? I mean, because you're kind of a big deal. They're like, there's Patty Logan. She writes the dick sucking books. Did anybody do that, or do they all know? Or
Actually, I'll tell you something. This is funny. I don't know where I was. I think I was at Walmart, and where I was in their book section. That was when they had a book section. It was a long time ago, and 10 years ago. And I was looking through romances, and I said, I don't know, I had one of my kids with me or something, and I said, I would love to be on the shelf one of these days, you know. And this woman overheard me, and she said, are you a writer? And we had this conversation. And yeah, that was weird. As soon as I told her who I was, she was like, oh, I've read your books. I'm like, no, you haven't. And I think she named it Silver Bullets or something, which was out at the time. It was like 2012. I was like, you're shitting me. She goes, can you sign this? And she actually had me sign like a greeting card, which was like, she went and bought a greeting card and had me sign a freaking greeting card. That was crazy.
Well, I've had it happen before in the wild.
That's the only time.
Yeah, well, I don't think you don't realize. At least I didn't. I didn't realize that. I mean, we are both. And when I say this is going to sound totally pompous, but everything does when I say it. We don't realize that we're celebrities in a small group of people. I mean, not everybody listens to romance, but the ones that do,
Right.
they know who you are. They know who I am.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty incredible, and it's such a. I didn't know this when I went to my first GRL. You were there, and I had no idea people knew who I was. I was just kind of scared, you know. And then when I'm walking through, occasionally, what they would say, you would hear them whisper. They'd be like, "That's Nick J. Russo." It was amazing. Um, that one took a while to set up, but um, so you're moving on to the Prosper Woods reunion tour next,
Wolves.
right?
Yeah.
And
Reunion tour.
are you planning that to be? Do you have any idea of the number of or anything like that for this one? Or are you doing this all
It'll be
year?
at least 3 books. At least 3 books. Um, I never know until I get into it. I'm not one of these people who plots out what's happening in each book. I go with the flow. And I knew that I was going to end um, the Prosper Woods Chronicles after the 3rd book. I knew that I was going to end it on the 5th book, that it was going to take 2 more books for me to finish it. Because I had to introduce Hannibal and the Guardians in book 4. And then I had to wrap everything up with, you know, the big conclave of 8 in book 5. So I knew I was at that point at the end of book 3. I knew I was going to write 2 more books, but I don't really plan ahead more than that.
Yeah, I knew that you were a pantser. It was fun for me to watch you go through this particular series because it's the first one that we've worked like this together. It was
Mm-hmm.
fun for me to see. For one, the first scene in the first book, I would say the first 2 or 3 chapters. So God, I'm fucking horrible. I can't think of your characters' names now. Vincent's a vampire, but who's the
Romeo.
unicorn? Romeo. Thank you so much. Sorry. Romeo rolls into town, and he's the sheriff that's leaving L.A. or whatever big town he comes from. The whole
Mm-hmm.
setup scene where he goes around and starts meeting all of the different people in town. He meets the poodle girl. I'm horrible with fucking names. He
Precious.
he he meets the shopkeeper that ends up being the wizard.
Uh-huh.
I forget his name too. He goes around and
Sid.
meets. Thank you so much. See, it's like you wrote these things. He wanders around, and the scene is like so fucking perfectly set up. Perfectly set up. And then Vincent rolls in and random shit starts going crazy. It's just
Yeah.
like you can, and I can tell like at this point, now it lines up great. It lines up like you thought of it in advance, but being an experienced narrator, like I could tell about halfway through that book, I was like, she's just making this shit up as she goes. It's
Yeah. And you know what this, I'll tell you the truth, okay? I've written 70 books now. This is the first series I've ever written, number one, as first person,
uh-huh,
okay? Which I know you hate. And this
uh-huh.
series, the new series, is going to be first person also.
Oh, goody.
And number two, it's the first series I've ever pantsed, 100% pantsed all the way through. I used to outline so much that I would have a 15-page outline. And this is how OCD I was when I first started writing. I would write a scene, and if it didn't follow my outline, I'd go back and change the outline so that it matched. That's how OCD I was.
Wow.
Now, with this thing, it's like, fuck it, man. I'm having so much fun writing this series. It doesn't even matter. I don't care what's happening. Oh, let's see. I need flying unicorns, and I'm going to make them blue. Wouldn't that be fun? And they're going to have glowing orange eyes. What am I going to call them? The champions. And then I'm going to have the guardians. And what are they going to be able to do? They're going to be able to shift into anything from an ant to a dragon. And how did Hannibal, the kid, get from one place to another? He climbed on the back of a giant bird who was one of his guardians and flew there. And it was like, it's just like, what the fuck, man? This is so fun. I'm having such a frickin' blast with this series.
Well, they made the wacky weed legal out there, so as long as you can get that in before.
Oh my god, you're so bad, because actually I was online this morning looking at what the hell is the name of this thing? Hold on.
Yeah, those are called
Hang on.
computers, Patty. Those are
Grassdoor.com. They deliver it
nice.
directly to your front door.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I know.
We
It's California, man.
oh man. See, I used to have to I think the last time I bought marijuana was, I say it like an old man now. Last time I bought the marijuana, it was 6 years ago, somewhere there, right? And there was this, I don't know, I seriously doubt this guy listens or watches, but it was one of the, you remember the old school like drug dealer houses? I don't know if you ever did these sorts of things or not. I sure as fuck did. You go in, they
By
always
accident.
have by
By
accident.
accident.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
these guys always have pit bulls for some reason. Pit bulls are like if you're a drug dealer, you can't get
Yeah, I
street
know.
cred unless you got those. The pit bulls, and it's always like the house is just absolutely filthy, and there's always this
Oh yeah.
toddler. Like there's a baby there,
Always.
and like the baby is like staring you down the entire time. I don't know if the baby's
They've got like old eyes. Like they know. Like they know what's happening here. They
yeah,
know.
yeah. The kid's like 47 years old, but he's just a toddler.
Yeah.
And the drug dealer every time too, like wants to talk to me, like, to
Always.
explain to me how he's always into it. Like he knows the Sensimillion and all the different types of drugs. And he's trying to explain to me all the different, he's really into this. And I appreciate passion. That's fucking awesome. And it always like smells like you don't want to stay for a long
No.
period of time. There's always a wet spot on the couch that doesn't
I was
go
gonna say,
away.
yeah. And the carpet is shag that's matted, and there's like
We've
food all over it.
We might have been to the same
crunching
place.
under your feet. Ugh.
I always wondered
Ugh.
about that wet spot on the couch too, because that wet spot on the couch was there like 3 weeks ago, and then
Always.
I come back and it's the same wet spot on the couch, and I'm like, that never dried. I don't get it, but yeah. How about somebody suggested? How about flying eunuchs who are follically challenged? Jesus
Well, they
Christ.
were bald. They had no hair, so
That's
they had no balls, and they had no hair.
that should be totally easy for me to narrate.
You did narrate him.
Yeah, the no balls thing, I forgot about that, but I realized that maybe I should have voiced it differently. But to be quite honest, I'd pantsed that part myself. So, you are
I
planning
made
on
him have a
doing.
deep voice. I made him have a deep voice. I shouldn't have. I should have let you just do whatever.
You crack me up with your accent one thing. Like some people think in terms of, and I realize that you're like, you're married to an. Hang on, I think I can get this right now. Okay, Iranian.
Wow, you even did the tongue roll. I
The
am
tongue
so
rolly thing.
impressed.
I know, I tried.
Yeah,
You're
Iran,
married to a
Iran.
foreign person, so obviously you're into the
Yeah,
accent thing. You like the accent thing, and you happen to befriend and hire a narrator who then pissed on your leg and claimed you forever. That really doesn't do a whole lot of original accents. You cracked me up
this is true.
going through this last Bonded by You. It's like every side character that comes in. I think in your head you're like, well, okay, but how do we make him sexy? Let's make him from, I don't know, the East African Easter Island thing. What kind of.
Shit. It was Texas. They were all from Texas. I guess if that's your definition of Easter Island, fine. I didn't see any monoliths or whatever.
Funny story. I actually do it. I can do some Southern accents. I can do some, if you're in America, I can do some Southern accents all
Yes.
day long. And I got a couple different ones I can do. The Tal Bauer books, you've listened to a couple of the ones that I did with Tal Bauer.
I have.
And one of the main ones, the Executive Office series, the
Yeah.
president is actually from Texas.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why I got that series was because he totally didn't want a Texas accent for those characters and said, I live in
Right.
Texas and people don't sound like that stereotypical Texas accent. Don't give him an accent. And I was like, I love you, man. I love you.
He has a
This is-
little bit of a drawl. He has a little bit, a twang here or there.
Yeah, I tossed it in, taking my little liberties. But that's also because
Yeah.
I don't have a Texan accent, but I have this from the hills of Ohio Appalachian accent. And by the way, fuck you all. It's Appalachian, not Appalachian. I don't care what you fucking say, and screw that college. I'm from there, and that's how you say it. But yeah, I have that kind of thing, and I have to fight really hard not to. But anyways, that's me. I got pissed off because somebody complained about me saying Appalachian in a book
Appalachian
once.
is right. It's
I know.
right.
I know.
I've actually been there, so yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's the way
people complained
said.
about it in a Alita Blake book once, and fuck those.
Whatever.
I'm not gonna read your reviews anymore. You have done wonderfully well. You've done 40 minutes, and you've been entertaining the entire time, which is far more than I can say for
Thank
myself
you.
this time around. No, thank you. You don't have to see me again for at least a few weeks until I work on one or more of your books again. And I missed a shit ton of comments, so if you could pop in and look at those at some point, that would be wonderful.
I will.
And hey, before I forget to, the Bound by Love sample that I told you that you could put in your newsletter, I fucked it up, so hopefully you didn't put it in your newsletter yet.
No,
Good.
my newsletter doesn't come out till the end of the month.
Beautiful. I'll send you a new one here shortly because I messed it up and it's only on one. Lissa Gramling said that I messed it up, so I haven't even listened to it yet, but I'm sure she's right. But anyways,
You messed it up, John.
She did. She sound. What she
You
did
messed
was.
it up, John. She's the one who has the accent. You messed it
Yeah.
up.
She accused me of being, there's another narrator or two out there that struggles with getting the audio into both speakers at the same time when they're streaming, and she accused me of being like that. But she wasn't very polite about it. Anyways, I love you. Have fun. I'm going to hit the
Thank you
end
very
show
much.
button.
Thank you,
All you
guys.
got to
Thank
do
you
is
very much for
wave
coming by.
and see you.